Again, just follow the shapes on the sheet that I gave you. Okay, next string. That you can just pause and grab that for yourself and then use it to study later and use it to watch along right now. Arrange any song, and in this video, any song that is more of a popular or traditional song that uses more triads and less jazz oriented, how we're going to do a 3-note block chord melody language to be able to arrange any song. And this is not just making an arrangement of a song. This is saying, well, what do I need to know to use certain shapes and certain melody notes on any song ever? You'll see what I mean. And the result is really amazing. We're going to do it over You Are My Sunshine. And I'm going to go through 5 steps to show you how this works. And by the time you practice it for yourself, you will see how you can use exactly what we worked on for any song that uses the same chords we went over or the same melody notes that we went over that are harmonized by these particular chords, which is thousands of songs. You'll see what I mean. And I'll give even another example at the end too. So importantly, you want to get your PDF that goes with this video. It's totally free, and it is an 11-page booklet that has all the diagrams. I took the time to write out every step we're doing and wrote out the fretboard visualization for you for every single shape and every step, how we map out the shapes, how we map out the melody, how we make this arrangement happen. So please download that. There's a button right below this video that you can just pause and grab that for yourself and then use it to study later and use it to watch along right now, and that's going to be a huge help, because otherwise it might feel like, whoa, what shape are you playing now? What are you doing? So let's dive right into this process. And step 1 is that we're assuming that we're at a starting point here with this process, that you already have the melody and the chords. And really step 1 is get the melody and the chords, figure them out, learn them, play them, practice them, however you need to do that. It could take a long time to get them down and feel like you hear it and see it, or whatever it means to you to know it. Maybe you need to find someone to teach it to you. Maybe you need to buy the tabs online. Maybe you can do it by ear. Whatever you need to do by any means necessary, figure out getting the melody and the chords. And once we're there, then we can move on to arranging it with this approach, which you can really arrange anything with this approach. So let's go on to step 2. So step 2 is that we take the chords and we outline them with 3-note we're going to take the triads of the chords and outline them as 3 notes along each set of 3 strings. Okay, so the song we're doing is You Are My Sunshine. So I'm going to make sure I have the melody in terms of step 1. It's going to sound really, really lovely as a 3-note block chord melody arrangement. And I want to tell you here, this is not an arrangement that I made. I didn't sit and figure out an arrangement. I'm going through in real time here the process that I would do to say, okay, what chords are in this song, and then what are the scales that that melody comes from, and then therefore we should just have an answer for what shape do you play with this melody, what shape do you play with this melody. It's not sitting and reinventing the wheel every time. So you'll see what I mean. So we're going to not really arrange it together, but we're going to learn the vocabulary needed to just simply play it as a chord melody arrangement after we go through this. So the chords of this are D, da 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 da. Then it goes to D7, da 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 da. Back to D, da 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 da. It goes to that D7, da 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 da. Then to A7, da 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 da. So we have D, we have D7, we have G, and we have A7. Okay, so those are the chords that we're going to do. So in this second step, we're going to take the 3 triad versions of those chords, D, G, and A, and we're going to map them out as inversions of those chords along the 3 strings. This is the stuff I have for you in the PDF, totally written out, super, super, super clear for you, so you can just sit there and practice it. Okay, so a lot of times I'm thinking of theory information, and if you don't know that stuff, then just the only way that I ever got it and that people get it is by just, even in the fog, even when you don't know what's going on, you know, drilling, trusting the exercise that that we're given when we want to follow a process. That's why I gave you those shapes. So even if you don't know the theory structure of all the chords, just practice those shapes and try to find them and get them down and drill them. That's how I got this stuff down. Okay. So what I recommend is that we take the top note of each of these and and map them out because we always want to think of the melody first. In chord melody, melody is more important than the chord part. Okay, so this is just going to be the chord tones of each triad. Here's the root of D, here's the third of D, here's the fifth of D, here's the root again. Once you do that, then we play the shape. I love this shape. How often do we play that? That's very cool. This happens to be the 3, 5, and 1. That is just the lowest possible notes you can play for a D triad right there. Then we're going to go up and this is the note we're trying to harmonize. There's the shape. This is the note we're harmonizing. There's the shape. So I'm tracking the note I'm trying to follow to harmonize, okay? Next one, 5 of D, okay? Then we're moving on to the root of D. Then we're moving on to the 3 of D, okay, etc. And these shapes repeat themselves a lot. Okay, so if you can see that really clearly, you can skip that step and just go to the shapes. And again, just follow the shapes on the sheet that I gave you. Okay, next string. Okay, and I'm really thinking of this, and I'm trying to listen for that top note. Okay, not just shapes. In this case, we're doing, we're thinking of melody. Okay, then I'm going to do it with A, and this is where it's really, really good because we're going to say, well, this note is what I'm harmonizing, and it has to be on A. There's that shape again. Interesting. So we start to get this, okay, well, that's A, the root, and that's, if we can start to really just grapple with these things however long it takes you. Okay, so here's A, here's the third, here's the fifth. Okay, then where are those shapes? Just gonna kind of go fast, and I really took me a long time to get this stuff down, okay, and it's so worth it. So there's A, and then these top ones if you map out the melody first, and then okay, so that's all in your sheet. Okay, let's go on to G. G might have been first on your sheet, whatever order. I just jumped to A, so okay, there's that shape again, interesting, that shape again, okay, that shape again. These, we get to see these in all these different places. Okay, there's G, third on top, fifth on top, root on top, fifth on top, third on top, root on top, third on top, fifth on top, root on top. Okay, love this stuff. Here's the root, here's the third, here's the fifth, root, third, fifth. You don't have to go up higher. As long as you play them all, you don't have to go up higher. Sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't. Okay, we did that. Okay, so that was our step 2. Step 3 is where things start to get interesting. If there are 7th chords, we want to take each of those shapes and then take the closest possible note, and you'll see this is all written out really clearly in your sheet, but we take the closest note we can and replace that with the 7 of the chord. But a couple things, that note has to be one of the bottom 2 notes because we can't replace the melody because we're assuming the melody is the melody, and that's the whole point of harmonizing that. So we take one of the bottom two notes and we replace it to make it the 7, but we can never do that with the third. Don't replace the third. So in this case, we have the root on top, that has to be the melody. The third is here, this is the 5, that has to go to the 7. Now this is so cool. We get this full 7th chord sound that's only 3 notes. Very light, very lovely. We don't have to play all 4 notes to get the sound we want. Okay, here's the note that we're harmonizing. Here's that old chord shape from the triad. The closest note to move would be the root. Okay, and if in doubt, just follow the shapes I have for you and let it soak in over a long period of time. Okay, so here's the shape we had. Here's the root going down to the flat 7. Okay, it takes time to see these things, okay? Then we're adding an extra shape because now we're doing a dominant 7th chord, so we have to play, the root, the third, the fifth, the flat 7, the root, the flat 7, the fifth, right? So that's why it's nice to play those individual notes along the string first. So we're adding this shape here where the 7's on top. 1, 3, 7, okay? Here's that root on top, and this was the shape we had, okay? It's really, really tricky to see those. Okay, so I still struggle with it sometimes because I'm like, okay, what is, depending on how well I have something down, I'm always trying to work on refining these things. Okay, so these shapes repeat. Here's the 5 on top, D7. Here's the flat 7 on top, D7. Here's the root on top, D7. Here's the third on top, D7. Okay, back down. Okay, I like these shapes along strings 2, 3, 4. Okay, root on top, third on top, fifth on top, flat 7 on top. There's the 5 again. Here's the third. There's root. Here's the 3 on top up here. Remember, do this first if you need. and say root, flat 7, 5th, 3rd, okay? There's the harmonization, there's the 5th on top, flat 7 on top, lovely voicing there, there's the root on top, flat 7, 5. Okay, now let's do the same thing with A7. That's where these shapes start to repeat themselves between different chords, and that's how we really learn them. Okay, so I'm thinking right now this is the root on top, and that's the shape that I use, okay? I'm also thinking this is the 3rd, and this is the flat 7, and that flat 7 is a whole step below this root here. There's no right or wrong way to think of it, to orient yourself. There's literally no right or wrong way to do it. This is the melody note. We have to know that that's the note we want to harmonize, and we have to somehow, some way, know what shape to play, right? So this shape here looks very similar to this shape, which is the one we play over here. So when the 5 is on top, I play this shape. When the root is on top, I play this shape. If any of this is like confusing as far as all the labels and stuff, really, that is all just secondary to the fact that you have these shapes written out for you, and you can, without thinking of anything, just visually go along and work on them. And that's more important than knowing any of the theory. If you knew all the labels and everything but couldn't actually just play those, then what use is it, right? It could be interesting, I agree with that, but I learned this stuff by just drilling it, and when I was in the fog, I just did it anyway, as I keep saying, stuff like that. So here's the 3, we're doing the next string up, I'm thinking that's the 5 on top, flat 7, etc. Okay, moving on. I like these voicings a lot here. I spend more time here. It's a very nice chord melody area. Melody on the 2nd string, and then here's that top one again. Do this. You don't have to do that pattern, but mapping it out along the string if you want. Okay, so next step. This is where it gets real. This is where it really happens. Okay, we're going to take every single shape that's in the song, or every chord type that's in the song, with all the shapes we just mapped out. So we're going to do D, we're going to do D7, we're going to do G, we're going to do A7. And we're going to add melody on the top, all the melody notes that can be added with that shape, according to certain very specific rules. Okay, so along the top string of each shape for the D major chord, we're going to play a D major scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Use the top notes of each series of shapes along this one string at a time from your diagrams to make sure you see that. Even if you don't know what they're all called, just, can you see what's next? Okay. Now each shape has notes from that we can play. Now, we never want to replace the 3rd with anything unless the 3rd is unless we're creating the melody as the 4. I should say that a little more clearly. When the melody is the 4, we replace the 3rd to play that. That's the only time we get rid of the 3rd. That 3rd needs to be there otherwise to make it sound like a major chord and like a D chord. So we don't just want to willy-nilly change voicings or just play whatever. We want to stick to a certain kind of texture and aesthetic that gets us the sound we want. So this is the root on top that can be replaced by 2. So here's a chord melody. 3, 2, 1, So many melodies are 3, 2, 1. That, these 3 shapes in this key right here is where you can play that. So here's 4. Okay, so here's 5, 6, 7. Now some of these overlap, as you can see in your sheet. 7 can be harmonized with this is 3 and then 5 and then 7. Here's 1. So it depends physically on what you want to play to get there easier when you're playing actual songs. Let's go to the next string. Okay, so we have 5, and you might need to rearrange fingers sometimes if you want to keep them ringing, or you can shift. There's 7. Now, these rules are helpful because it just eliminates decision fatigue and creates a consistent sound. I never want to double a note for this particular language. There's other approaches where you can do that, but I like to be within kind of a system so I can practice it and then go more free to my heart's content later after I know the language of it. So I don't want to play this root, 3rd root. There's that 7, and then I'll go up to that. Listen to how that sounds more harmonized like a major chord. 7, 1, instead of this. Okay, so again, it just keeps it consistent. Here's 2, here's 3. Here's that 4, 3, 2, 1, 7, 6. Ooh, very nice. Okay, let's move up. Here's the root. In this case, you can play that open 6, 7, 1, 2. Already able to play around with this. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 7, 1. Okay. Next string, you see what we're doing here. And you can just follow the sheet. Okay. Really, really satisfying. There's a famous classical piece called Majorca that uses that same type of thing. That's a little portion from that there. A little bit more goes outside a note or two from our language, but that's when we're making real music. We want to be able to allow ourselves to do that. So let's go to the G chord and then just try to do the same thing. So there's the same language every time on every chord forever, okay? Except the G chord, we're going to play the D scale on top of it still, okay? I love this. So it changes a little bit, and again, just if that's confusing, just follow your shapes on the diagrams. Okay, so once we start moving between chords, it's going to sound really nice. That's coming up very, very soon. So let's finish off the G here. Okay, there's the 3, and then there's sharp 4 to 5. Here's the 3 on top. Here's the triad. There's that melody note. Right? Pretty cool. You can hear it coming together as very, very melodic, okay? 1, 2, 3 of the scale or of the chord, and then that's sharp 4 of the scale. That's 5, 6, 7, 1. Now that's that. I want to switch chords there instead of going. That sounds too open to me. Now in a pinch and really fast moving melody lines later do that, but in this study of it to really get what would be the official answer, there's kind of like a right answer when you're arranging. Let's move on to D7. This is, I think I skipped that. That's in the order on your PDF. I think it does D7 first because that's the order that it comes up in the song. So we're going to do the 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4, just starting with all those same shapes, okay? There's 5, there's 6. I'm talking about the top now. There's flat 7 on the top, okay? There's root on the top, flat 7 on the top. I love this one. Okay, next. That's such a blues thing. Dun, 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 dun. Or if you know Miles Davis Kind of Blue. The tune All Blues. So now I'm thinking like, okay, 5, 6, and what shapes would be harmonized with that. Okay, moving on. I'm just going through what's in your sheet, so I'll move a little faster here because you get the point now. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, and then you would go, tons and tons and tons back down over and over to get this down. 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, root 2, root, flat 7, 6. So nice, so cool. Okay, so we need to do the same thing over A7. I just like to always demonstrate everything, so let's do it quickly here. Flat 7 on the top. There's the 2. There's 3, 4, 3. There's 2, 1, flat 7, 6, 5. Okay, next string set, melody on the 3, on the 3rd string. 1, 2. Okay, you're gonna see this come together beautifully in the song. That shape is easy to get confused with the other one. Okay, this string is really nice. Notice how I break it up sometimes. If you want to arpeggiate. And by the way, you can do all of this absolutely with a pick. It's not a finger style approach. Okay, so it's totally fine to do it with a pick. Okay, we've done all of the melody notes. We went through all 4 steps. The 5th step is now you can plug in. We chose those chords because of the song that we're doing, and but you can now play any song that has the D chord in it for that portion of the song. And if the melody is within the D major scale, you know exactly what shapes to play, multiple options on any string. So if we just plug it into this, then we have, and it goes to D7. There's the G shape. So cool. What? Isn't that nice? I mean, it's just, and it's not an arrangement that I sat and made. It's that we're using this, I'll oversay this, but that it's a language, right? We have an answer for everything. 5, 1, 2. If 2 is the melody, I play this, right? As opposed to this, which is a lovely sound, but I like to, again, just decide that there's an answer for it. Like, okay, this is the answer. I can change it later to this. I'm not being robotic, but I rather like the answer that I've given myself here because it has the third in it. This one takes away the third. It's just a sound that I like. So I love, and then we get the quality of that D7, right? And we have an answer for it. Like, okay, D7 is the chord now, and the melody goes like this, da da da. And okay, well, that's going to be 1, 2, and when it goes to the 3, it's this shape. And then that's when the chord changes, and it's the root of G, so that's the shape. It's just, you just plug it in. It is a system. And just because it's a system, again, does not mean it's not emotional, right? So I absolutely now... Right, I can play this expressively, and in fact I can play it so much more expressively than if I had to think about the chord shapes because I didn't have, a go-to language for it. Now I can actually tap much more into how I want it to feel. Because I don't have to think, the decision fatigue is taken away a little bit, right? I might go, right? So you can do all kinds of creative things. This is just, as I say, it's the building blocks, right? So you can really do this with anything. Like, let's say, this Norwegian Wood by the Beatles, John Lennon. Well, if you can analyze it, 5, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 4, 3, 1, 7, flat 7, dun, dun, right? And then move it somewhere where you can play it. Like, let this take time, but right. And part of what I'm showing you here is how it can be done. It's not an arrangement that I made. It's you can call it an arrangement, but I'm just plugging in the language. What? Isn't that so cool? I mean, come on. That is so cool, right? That it just exactly, I'm using only what we talked about here. Only shapes from the D and the D7. 5, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 4, 3, 1, flat 7, 4, 6. Just for ease of physical playing, I made this the dominant 7 with the 6 on top. Okay, That's so fun. And any other song, right? And so you just have the D, the G, the D7, the A7, but get the idea, right? That's also the same shapes you can do for any other triad, right? So if you use those same shapes and say, well, I need to do it on C because I'm going to play, you know, something else with C. Well, same shapes, just move it around, right? So I hope you feel how powerful that is. Feel free to reach out and just give me a thumbs up if you really, felt that's valuable. My goal here is that even if you don't watch the other videos in this series, that just this concept will stick with you for the rest of your life, that you're like, oh man, that is possible. Isn't that crazy? And this is just one of 5 different chord melody approaches, right? In the same kind of way, a systematic approach. This is the 3-note block chord melodies, and it can be used any song, popular song, traditional song, and jazz tunes too, because we have the way to do 7th chords, right? So this is the one approach. There's also the 4-note, like traditional jazz chord block chord melody style that I also love to use. There's also an approach that I call the open guide tone approach, where we're just playing guide tones and moving melody around. There's then, of course, the just creative combo of playing around with any of them. So for the next video in this series, I'm going to take all 5 of the chord melody approaches, including this one. I'm going to demonstrate all 5 of them on a tune called My Funny Valentine. Very popular tune. You probably heard of it. And I'm choosing that because in contrast to this, You Are My Sunshine, it has really, really rich harmony. All kinds of rich 7th chords, minor 6 chords, minor major 7, crazy stuff. And I'm going to play that tune, beautiful song, and demonstrate each of the 5 chord melody approaches with it, just to show you how much potential and how many possibilities there are with practicing in this way and having, again, a language and a system that then we can plug any song into. So I'm really looking forward to that demonstration, and I will see you then. In the meantime, take care, and thank you so much for watching.